What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you for tuning in and watching. I love every single one of you guys. You're all amazing, wonderful beings. And we're going to talk about what is the purpose of life. What is the purpose of life? Oh my God. I just opened up a can of worms here. What is the purpose of life? If I had to guess based on knowing myself and my tendencies to go off tangents, this is probably going to be a long video. So tune in for some bullshit and let's discuss this. What is the purpose of life? What are we doing here, man? Why am I even talking to this camera? What is the point of my existence? Why am I here? Why am I talking? And why am I on this organic spaceship we call planet Earth? What am I doing? God, why? Why do I have to be in this body? Why do I have to suffer and experience pain? And, why? I mean, couldn't I just be in eternity? Or couldn't I just be somewhere else, maybe in a more gentle game? Because Earth is pretty rough, man. Life is suffering, right? That's the noble truth, the first noble truth of the Buddha. Life is suffering. And there's a lot of truth to that. And everything's transient, everything's temporary. This too shall pass. What is the purpose of being here? Well, very interesting. So, some people will tell you that there's different schools, different philosophies on this. There's the philosophy that we're here to experience, that there's no purpose to this thing. You're here just to experience whatever that experience is. You're here to experience pain. You're here to experience suffering. You're here to experience joy. You're here to experience pleasure. You're here to experience sadness and happiness and all spectrums of life. There's that school, there's that thought. There's no real purpose. There is no real end game to this thing, that we're just doing this thing for the sake of doing this thing. It's like listening to music. You don't listen to music because there's an end point to listening to music. You listen to music because of music, because it's the tune. You create music for the sake of creating music. You create art for the sake of creating art, right? So there's that school, there's that thought. We're here to just experience. And so you experience whatever, because it all passes. You're gonna die and you're gonna be food for the worms. And before you know it, you're gone. Okay. That's very valid. There's a lot of validity in that. Then there is the other school of thought, which is life is driven by purpose and there is a meaning to everything. And that's what's taught in logotherapy, which was developed by Viktor Frankl, the writer of Man's Search for Meaning, a Holocaust survivor who went through probably, this is as bad as it gets, right? They've taken his child, or children, he had children, they've taken his wife from him. He never saw them again. They put him in he never saw them again. That's it. They put him in a concentration camp, and he survived it all the way through, right? And it doesn't get much worse. It really doesn't get much worse as far as human suffering, as far as suffering. This is, the worst. I can't think of too many situations that are worse. Maybe, they were tortured, really, very few scenarios that are worse than that. So, he said that the people who made it out of the concentration, who survived, they all saw meaning in their suffering. They saw that there is a purpose to this. There is a meaning to this. And then he said that the reason why I survived and other people survived, and the people who didn't survive simply didn't see the purpose and the meaning in their suffering anymore, and they gave up. But the people who saw meaning didn't give up, and they made it through. And he said they could take anything from us but our minds. Very powerful book. Very, very powerful. So his meaning, his purpose was to develop logotherapy, which is basically the theory, the psychological theory that human motivation is driven by purpose. Freud says all human motivation is driven by sexual desire and the desire to procreate. You know, that's one theory. You know, a lot of people came after and they showed it's not, I mean, Freud said he had a lot of cool shit and really contributed to the development of psychology. But, you know, some people after came with more depth. And so one of them was Viktor Frankl, and he talked about this idea of logotherapy, this idea of human motivation is driven by purpose, and we have to find meaning in our lives, individual meaning. And that was his purpose. His purpose of experiencing what he experienced was to come back and develop this thing and write this wonderful book that sold millions of copies and inspired millions of people and still does so up until today. And that's another school of thought. So that's a bit different than the school of thought of we're here to just experience and there's no meaning and there's no purpose. Then there's a third school of thought, which I kind of adhere to or entertain more than the first two, which is basically a combination of the first two, right? And this school of thought is we're eternal beings and everything is eternity. Everything goes on forever. This is a flicker. This is your existence in this lifetime. It's a blink of an eye. In the grand scheme of eternity, this is your existence in the grand scheme of eternity is this. Boom. That's it. That's it's a blink. It's a blink. So ultimately, there is no meaning. We're just dancing this dance, playing this video game. You know, God is just entertaining itself through creating these subjective life forms in the form of humans and trees and fungus and all of it. And plants and stars and galaxies and dimensions and multiverse. God is entertaining itself. Ultimately, in the grand scheme of eternity, nothing matters. There's no real purpose to this. You know, God just got bored of infinite bliss and said, I'm going to divide myself into streams of consciousness and I'm going to play this game where I evolve my consciousness until I become one with myself again. So, in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of eternity, not a whole lot of purpose. Not a whole lot of meaning. It's absurdity. It's masturbation. Because eventually we all get there. Eventually we all become one with God again. It might take us hundreds of thousands of lifetimes of spawns of playing, but eventually we all get there. Eventually we all realize oneness and we all become one with God and we all evolve our souls, come back, become one with the Creator again. One God becoming one with itself again. Eventually, right? We all move at a different pace. But then, if your goal as a soul, as a stream of consciousness, is to become one with God, become one again, then that means there is a purpose to each spawn, each individual incarnation, each individual recreation. And that is to evolve your consciousness, to evolve your soul, to become more love. Essentially, you're evolving your state of consciousness into love. So then there is a meaning. The meaning is the purpose is to evolve. The purpose is to become love. The purpose is to become one with God. The purpose is to increase your state of consciousness, to evolve your consciousness into a higher way of being, which is love, unity, oneness, togetherness. And you keep coming back and you keep doing this again until you get it, until you master it, until you become God again, until you become love. And until you do that, you have to come back again. But if you were to just always come back and say, well, there's no meaning, I'm here to experience, right? This is all, nothing matters, it's all meaningless. You're not playing the game. You're not playing the game. You're not evolving your soul. You're not evolving your consciousness. You're not playing the game. God is playing itself, and the subjective God, the little version of God that is you, is not playing the game that it created for itself. So then, yeah, you'll come to every lifetime and say, well, I'm gonna fucking experience. I'm gonna go shoot up heroin up my ass, right? And I'm gonna go and have all the sex, and I'm gonna do all of this, and I'm gonna, you know, just experience, and that's it. I'm here to experience. I'm gonna go dance, I'm gonna go just experience pleasure, and that's it. And you keep doing that every lifetime, right? You just do that without learning or without having the intention of learning, right? You can do that, right? You can do that. It's just, you're probably gonna have to come back a lot before you start to see, okay, hold on. There is some kind of a meaning to this game. There's some kind of a purpose, and I have to learn, right? I have to evolve my consciousness. I have to evolve my soul. I have to increase my awareness, right? My consciousness. All right, so then I'm here to experience. So yeah, I'm gonna go on and experience pain and pleasure and all of it. But in the midst of experiencing, I'm going to learn something about myself. I'm going to learn how to become more loving. I'm going to learn how to become more caring. I'm going to learn how to be more one with my fellow beings. And I'll experience, you know, you can't run away from experience. Sorry guys, I got cut off by some bullshit. So, I was saying, you can't run away from experience. To be alive, to be human beings, to experience life, to experience pain, to experience suffering, to experience pleasure. But unless you set the intention to learn, to evolve your soul, to become one with God again, to become loving, yeah, you're gonna have to come back here again and experience a lot of suffering and pain before you finally get it, man. Right? Before you finally get it. So, that's kind of the school of thought that I'm more a fan of. It's like, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, nothing matters, really. Like, yeah, nothing matters in the grand scheme of eternity, you know? It just keeps going on forever. It's endless. Life is an endless unfoldment, and existence is an endless unfoldment, and God is infinite, and, you know, infinity is everything and everywhere. And you've been doing this shit thousands. All of us have been here. Thousands of lifetimes. Thousands of spawns we've been here. Thousands of times we jumped into different characters and out of them. We were all, let me tell you this, we were all killers in past lives. We were all gay in past lives. We were all lesbians in past life. We were all killed in past lives. We were all women in past life. We were all men in past life. We're everything. We were everything, and we are everything, and we will be everything, right? We've been doing this shit way too long, all right? And so in the grand scheme of things, yeah, I mean, really, it's kind of somewhat of a funny, absurd game that God created, and we're playing it out, and hence the cosmic giggle. The cosmic giggle is what you get when you get loaded on mushrooms. Is you start to laugh hysterically as if this is all a cosmic joke, because in many ways it is. It's an act, it's an entertainment, it's a drama. But even within the absurdity, there is meaning. And the meaning is to learn, to evolve, to play this game, have fun, experience as much as you can, have fun, enjoy yourself, create, enjoy this playground, be a kid in that sense, and then learn, evolve your soul simply to become one with yourself again. That's all it is. When you become one with your fellow humans and beings, not just humans, mind you, trees and animals and fungus and all living things and all of creation. The more you become one with it, the more you increase your state of consciousness. You'll come back in another lifetime because we got another lessons to learn. You'll come back again, right? You'll come back again with different lessons. But guess what? When you come back, all the lessons you've been learning from past incarnations and past spawns in this earthly dimension or in different dimensions altogether. Right? Like, I mean, I would love to go incarnate in that dimension behind me, the Super Saiyan dimension. Who knows? Maybe I did incarnate in that dimension. Maybe that's why I'm obsessed with Super Saiyans and obsessed with Dragon Ball Z. Maybe I'm obsessed with them because I incarnated in that dimension. Okay? I'm obsessed. Who knows? Maybe I was. So you go in different dimensions, different realms altogether, right? And come on. Where is the fun in it if you were just always in infinite bliss and you had no problems to solve, no struggle to fight against, no challenges to overcome? there would be not much fun, to be honest, right? Then yeah, then now everything is meaningless. It wouldn't be much fun. But it is fun to have these problems, to create our problems for ourselves and then solve them, and obstacles and situations, and navigate through them. And otherwise, like, yeah, infinite bliss is cool and all. You know, imagine you were having an orgasm like the whole time. Imagine that. That would get a little boring, right? I mean, it would be nice like the first few hours, right? Maybe even the first 24 hours, but then it would kind of get boring, no? Like, it would kind of get boring. That's what infinity is. That's what infinite bliss is, right? And you can access that through orgasm, through the act of orgasm. You can access that through psychedelics. You can access that through dancing. You can access that through training your body, working out. You can access all of that infinity, that orgasm, anything that's orgasmic, right? That makes you lose your ego for a moment. That is a glimpse into your real self, who you really are, and where you go after you finish the spawn, right? So essentially, you finish the spawn, you jump back into infinite bliss. That's where you jump back into. Then you get a little bored, and you say, "Oh, I'm gonna go back to that fucking tough, grindy place called Earth because it's kind of fun. Why else are we here? It's kind of fun, right? Come here, it's like, oh fuck, man, I hate the system, I hate the society. This is fucking bullshit." You know, I hate this shit. And alright, now I got a challenge. I gotta fucking deal with the society. Oh man, I fucking got abused as a child. Now I gotta deal with this. It's kind of fun. You work your way through these challenges and these things. You find meaning in the absurdity. You find purpose. You know, maybe I came off in this video more so from the meaningless camp, right? But I don't think so. I am a man on a mission. I think I have a mission. I think I am here on a mission, and my mission is to spread love, and I'm doing it through these videos, and I'm gonna do it through other means as my life progresses. So I'm actually on a mission here. I believe in purpose. I believe in meaning. I believe you have to find meaning in your life. You have to find a purpose in your life, and this individual to you. Each person, the purpose of life is to find the purpose of life, right? To find the purpose of this blink of an eye existence that you happen to be in right now. But again, I think in the grand scheme of things, absurdity wins, meaningless wins. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? So those are some thoughts we had. I wanted to throw them around. Just interesting, right? To get you thinking, to get me thinking as well. God bless you all. I love every single one of you guys. You're all amazing, wonderful beings. But don't forget to subscribe, or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.